Hey guys, Carrie Gardner here with Synergistic Effects. Welcome to our Saturday workout. We're going to get started right away with some dynamics. It's going to be kind of our usual dynamic warm up for a little while, and then we're going to jump into 8 new exercises from what you guys saw last week. All right, so that being said, let's roll. All right, first up, we're going to do our dynamic work. The first one up today is a lunge with a 3-way twist. So we're going to start by lunging backwards, and then we're going to twist over that front leg, twist away, and do a nice side bend. Then we're going to switch. So lunge, twist, twist, switch. So this exercise is great for warming up our lower body. We're getting our spine rotators. We're doing our lateral flexors of our spine. All sorts of good stuff here. And you're really wanting to think about engaging your pelvic floor, your core being drawn back so you have really good stability. You want to think about your hips staying underneath you, nice and square. You don't want them pushing out to the side. So we're going to do just a couple more here. Good. And last one, we're going to do a twist, twist, and that reach. Good. So now we're going to hit the figure fours. We're going to cross over like a numeral 4. Today we're going to actually alternate sides. So that ups the difficulty for balance, okay? When you're squatting down into this position, you want to sit towards the hip of the leg that's folded over. So we're really working on engaging the pelvic floor. The core is nice and tight. That's how you balance single leg. This is having a nice stretch in the IT band. And it's warming up our legs. I'm feeling it in my glutes and my quads on the leg that I'm standing on. Getting a nice stretch in the IT band and the tensor fascia lata on the other. So we'll do just a few more here. And remember, sit towards the hip that's folded over, okay? And sit towards that hip that's folded over. Awesome. Next one, we're gonna do our hip hinge. This is gonna be a dynamic movement that warms up and strengthens our hamstrings at the same time. So I like to do a little bit of a swing through and then a tip, and I'll do this from the side for you guys too. So swing, tip, and then we're gonna swing through, take a step, tip, swing, step, tip. All right, while we're doing this, I wanna add a little bit of difficulty level with it by having you reach with a contralateral arm to the opposite toe. So I'll do that from the front here. You see how I'm reaching across? And you can take your time on these because we're really working on the balance. Core is nice and tight. Good. Switch. Couple more here. Awesome. Last one. Good. Now we're going to get into that side lunge. We're going to open up our adductors. We're going to get our hips nice and warm. So we're lunging and we're going to do a twist of our thigh here internally and externally. So we're going to do the next side, twist, twist. We're going to do our side lunge, get a couple twists in there. What we're thinking about when we're doing that is the ball of the femur in the hip socket. We're really trying to score it back and forth. So you can really open up all the little intrinsic muscular attachments from your deep internal and external rotators in the hip. So you can feel our heart rate starting to come up a little bit. And if you haven't already, you might want to start your fitness watch. I'm forever forgetting while I'm working out to start it. There we go. Great. And then our last one here, and we're getting warmer, we're going to do our quad calf. So I want you to think about keeping your lower leg in line with your upper leg, okay? And then we're going to go up into a calf raise. So we're working our balance, pelvic floor is engaged, abs are back, getting that calf raise up. So you're in a nice quad stretch. Anytime you're stretching a muscular group, you want to think about engaging the opposite. So I'm really pulling my heel up with my hamstring, and then I'm stretching my quad at the top there. And I like having my hand out for a little bit of counterbalance. It really seems to help a lot. We're going to do just a few more here. Just keep our warm-up brief, but enough that we're really starting to feel some good effects here. Awesome. All right, so now it's time for us to move in to our main workout. Today you're going to need kettlebells. You're going to need a stability ball. If you have a loop, I use the Power Systems VersaLoops. If you have a TheraBand that is a continuous loop that you can use around your ankles, that would be great. And then we're also I'm going to use my Bosu for some balance work. You can do it without the Bosu, of course, but those are the different types of equipment that we're going to use, and the medicine ball as well. And I really like using one that bounces for what I'm doing today. So grab your equipment and we'll start up. All right, first up is the kettlebell swing. The kettlebell is similar to when you're doing a deadlift action. When we swing down for the starting point, we're hinging at the hips and we're pushing our hips back. So the swing comes through and up like this. So the axis of rotation is in our hips. I'm keeping my pelvic floor nice and engaged. My abs are back and I'm getting that swing action. I'm letting gravity bring the bell back down. You always want to maintain your neutral curvature in your low back when you're doing a kettlebell swing. You always want to start light and then work your way up to more advanced as you get more comfortable and get really good biomechanics in this position. And rest. All right, we're grabbing the med balls now for our power slams. So we're going to alternate back and forth between kettlebell swings and med ball slams. So I'm going to get, I have a 12-pound med ball here. This is also Power Systems. I really love their equipment. So with this one, we're throwing the ball down as hard as we can at the floor. I want it to bounce back up to have to land into our biceps. So this is upper body plyometrics. Our biceps are recoiling to catch and decelerate the ball. So if you have to step up into it to catch it, I don't want you catching it out in front of you. You want to keep your back really safe. So we're going to get about 15 slams in. And I can feel my heart rate coming up. It's good stuff. If you do not have a bouncing med ball at home, just go ahead and do the slams where they land on the ground and you have to pick them up. That's totally fine too. It's another exercise in itself. You don't get the plyometrics for the biceps, but you're still getting great muscular work as well. A couple more here, 14 and 15. Nice work. All right, grab that kettlebell again. So again, our starting position, swinging back, hips are pushed back, and then we shove the hips forward on our way up. So it's truly a pelvis back and forward motion as we're doing the bell. You want to think about shoulder blades pinning nice and tight to your back while you're doing the swing. And again, I'll try to switch to the sides here so you can see the position of my hips pushing backwards and then driving forwards as you come up explosively. So this is a great posterior chain activation exercise. For my athletes who want to be faster on the field, this is one of the perfect type of exercises to help increase leg speed. And rest. Great. All right, so back to our power slams. So again, ball up nice and high, driving down, and catching that ball in our hands out in front of us. I really love power slams. People are always really surprised how much of a cardiovascular effect that you get from them. So we are gonna keep these going for another, about 8 repetitions so we can get to 15. One more here, and rest. All right, excellent. All right, so next up we want to use the loop that I was telling you about for our lateral slides. So I'm going to put this on around my ankles and then we're going to get started. All right, so for the sake of our video, and if you're in your family room or living room at home, we're gonna do 2 strides to the right and then 2 strides to the left. When we're doing the lateral slides with the band, one thing that I want you to think about, your feet need to remain parallel to each other. If you start to toe out, you are gonna no longer be recruiting the intended muscular group, which is your hip abductors, and you're gonna transfer that force production into your hip flexors in front. So it's important to keep your feet parallel to each other. Our knees are slightly bent, pelvic floor is engaged, abs are nice and tight. On the way back, I like to kind of hold my arms up like this, and we're just taking the steps, 2 steps to the right and 2 steps back the other direction. One thing also, you never want to tip away from the direction that you're going. If you start to tip away, notice I'm not actually getting any hip abduction. It's all trunk flexion that's occurring. So if anything, you want to lean in the direction that you're traveling, and then you're for sure that you're going to activate the intended muscle group, which are your abductors here. So we're going to keep going here. Another probably 5 sets each direction. Good. So that's 1. 4 more of those. We got them. Stay nice and deep in that squat. And you don't want your feet to drag along the carpet either. You want to pick up, so you're placing your feet and not allowing yourself to use the friction of the carpet to decelerate your leg. So you don't want any snapping back motion. You want to really control that band, and you can feel it. If you're getting in the right place and you're holding your legs in the right position, you should really feel it in the sides of your hips. And great job, and rest. All right, we're gonna kind of shake those off. What we're gonna do to alternate with these, we're actually gonna use our big stability ball. So I'm gonna grab that from behind us right now. We're gonna do what's called the prone lateral toe touches on the ball. So I'm gonna roll this out here. I think I can see that I'm still showing, that's perfect. Okay, so the farther out that you roll, so the more that your feet are on the ball, the more difficult it's gonna be. For easier difficulty level, you'll roll back like this. Closer the ball is to the midline of your body, the easier the exercise. So I'm gonna roll out here. What we're gonna do now, we're engaging our core really nice and tight, and we're gonna deviate our feet off of the ball, touching laterally. So we're gonna go for 20 toe touches. We're at 5 already. And you really wanna think about keeping that pelvis nice and level as you're going back and forth, not allowing any rocking to occur. We're about halfway now, that's 10. 13. Great job, guys. Keep that core engaged. Don't let those hips sag towards the ground. Last 2. And 20. Nice job. All right, so grab your Versa Loop again and get this around your ankles. We're gonna go back into that hip abduction move again. The lateral slides with the band. All right. Something that you can do instead of the lateral slides with the band, if you don't have those at home, some sort of resistance, you can lay on your side and you can do a side lying leg lift. And that will work really well to use the same intended muscle group. But we're gonna keep this going like this here. Remember, don't lean away from where you're traveling. Lean into it so that you keep yourself really engaging the gluteus medius. I can feel my heart rate really doing a good job right now. If you keep your exercises built together like this, you get a nice cardiovascular effect. And that's a big part of staying in really good condition. You don't have to slog away on the cardio machine after you're done lifting. You do a really good job pairing it together. I still recommend doing cardiovascular exercise as well. But if you're on shorter time, then just build a weight workout like this where you're really keeping moving just back and forth, opposing muscle groups, going from upper body to lower body, from the front half to the back half, and so on and so forth. Great. Next, last 2 here. Excellent. All right, so we'll kick that off. Get our last set on for the lateral toe touches on the ball. I always think that's a lot of fun, rolling out on the ball. It's like one of my favorite things to do. And I'm making sure that you guys see me. Am I too far out? Let's see. I'll go more towards the camera this time. Okay, so here, let me go. There we go. Now we're gonna get that toe touch going. You can see what it looks like from the a different angle here. 5, 6, 7, 8, we're almost there. 9, 10, halfway. 11, 12, really keep that pelvis flat. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 2 more, and 20. Nice work. All right, let me get my shoe tied up here. Guys, next exercise is going to be the single arm lat pull or row on the bench. So I want you guys to grab a dumbbell. It's going to be heavier than what you typically use for your biceps because you're going to use your primary muscle group is going to be your latissimus dorsi with the aid secondarily of your biceps brachii. So grab yourself something that's appropriate and we'll meet at the bench. One thing I like to think about when I'm doing these, I always like to start with my non-dominant side. For the sake of the video, I'm going to show you with my right arm first because it's closer to you, but typically I always start with my left side because I'm a right-handed person. So my righties out there, start with your left. Left-handed people, start with your right arm. When we get into the position here, I want you to think about being spine neutral. So you shouldn't have a rounded back or an extremely flat back. You should have your normal curvature. Your shoulders should be level with each other and level also with your pelvis. Elbows slide along your rib cage, just like so. I don't want to see any rotation occur in your trunk. I want all the action at the elbow and the shoulder joint here. So we're about 5 repetitions in. We're going to go 10 more and then we're going to switch to the other side here. Nice job, guys. 8 more here. 7, 6, nice and tight core. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Excellent. And then we're going to go right into that other arm. There's no reason to let our heart rate slow down. Again, elbows are going to slide along rib cage of our body. Our upper body is nice and flat. No rotations occurring in my spine right now. It's all completely in my shoulder and in my lat. The work that I'm doing in my bicep. This is an anti-rotation exercise because my stabilizers in my trunk are actually keeping me from rotating right now. So you're getting isometric anti-rotation while you're doing isotonic work with your latissimus dorsi bicep and of course your brachialis as well. 1 more rep here and rest. Nice job. All right, since this is a single arm exercise, we are going to continue on and go straight into the next set on your right side or your left, depending on which side you started with. So we'll go right into that. Again, the goal is to keep our heart rate going alongside our strength and conditioning. Keep that core nice and tight. Remember, spine neutral. I don't want any rounded backs. No tail tucking. You want to be sticking your butt out at the wall behind you. Great. I think this is 10. We're going to go for 5 more. 3. Last 2, 2, and 1. Awesome. All right, and again, right into that other arm. Another thing you want to think about too is spotting high. If you're looking up in front of you while you're doing this exercise, it's going to put your shoulder blades into the correct position. And that's really important that we don't have our front of our shoulder girdle rolling forward while we're exercising, doing this particular move. So again, keep your core nice and tight as you're resisting rotation here. 1 more rep and 15. Great work. All right, we'll rack that dumbbell. I'm going to grab my my BOSU next. But you can also do this next exercise with just the floor, or you can even use it with the bench. So I'll show you a little bit of variation that can be done. If you don't have a BOSU and you'd like to keep a full straight plank so that you're not in like a women's push-up position, you can try being on an incline like this. This can be super helpful. It's kind of an in-between between being in a lady's push-up position and in a men's push-up position. So you can do the work like so. I'm going to grab my BOSU. I really like the upper body instability so that I am being able to work and focus on both sides equally. When you're using an unstable surface, you're going to tend to tip towards your dominant side. So when you have to even yourself out, then you know you're recruiting pretty much symmetrically on both sides of your body. Right. All right, so we're in this plank position. Shoulder blades should be down and back. So before we plank out, I want you to think shoulder blades down and back. We're in a kind of quadruped stance right here. You should pull your pelvic floor up, draw your abs back. Pay attention to feel for whether your back is in spine neutral. A way you can do that, if we round our back up like a scared cat and we stick our butts out as far as we can, like a cow back, then you can kind of find, so that's your extreme different, and somewhere right in the middle is your spine neutral. So again, engage your core, draw your abs back, and get out into that plank. Now we're going to shoot for 15 push-ups. We're going to control our way down. Notice I don't go any lower than my upper arms going to the midline of my body here. I swam yesterday and I can feel a little fatigue in my arms. I can feel the shake just a little bit. I got in a couple thousand yards after work. Good, that's 5. So we're going to go 10 more. 6, 7, 8, 9. You guys are doing great. Keep those core nice and tight. 10, don't let those hips sag towards the ground. 11, 12, 3 more, 13, last 2, 14, and 15. It's really important when you're doing a push-up that you don't go past the midline of your body with your upper arm. What that does is it causes you to stress the anterior portion of your shoulder capsule. So we call it the anterior capsule of the shoulder. It requires actually more strength to stop and hold yourself in that range of motion where I was showing you, and then to push back out than it does for you to hit your bony endpoints and your ligamentous endpoints. So it's something to think about. You're not cheating, you're actually doing a lot more for your body when you're decelerating, stopping with a pause and going back the other direction. So that's something really to think about. That should carry over when you're doing bench press, when you're doing chest fly work, when you're doing chest press with dumbbells. You never want the upper arm to go past the midline here of your rib cage. So now we're going to grab our second set here of Bosu push-ups with that little bit of a rest. And we'll jump right in. Shoulder blades are down and back. Pelvic floor is engaged. Abs are tight. And we're going to go ahead and push these out. 2. Nice job, guys. 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, looking up in front of you. We'll put your shoulder blades in a better position. 10, 11, 12, last 3, 13, abs tight, 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 14, and 15. All right, well done. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna kind of put this back. All right, so our next exercise that we're gonna do, we're gonna end with another leg exercise. It's actually gonna do some rotational dynamics with our core, and we're gonna do a little bit of shoulder work, all combined into one exercise. And then we're gonna end out with the alternating jackknives with the med ball. So I would recommend lifting either a dumbbell if you have a 10-pound dumbbell or less, because that would be 5 pounds per arm. You really don't want to go more than that, especially when you're starting out. So if you have a 6-pound ball or you have a set of 3s, that's probably a good place to kind of start, or an 8-pound dumbbell. So with that being said, I'll grab my 6. So what we're going to do here, we're going to go into a rear lunge. So we're doing that rear lunge. It's similar to our warm-up dynamic. We're twisting. We're coming back just to forward. Ball comes down as we stand back up. So we go lunge, twist, forward, ball down. Switch legs, twist, forward, ball down. Really keep a watch on whether or not your hips are popping out to the side. You want to keep those hips nice and square underneath your body. And in order to do that, you can think about squeezing your glutes. You guys are doing great. I usually like to go to 20 on these, so I get about 10 on each leg. And your shoulders are feeling real good by the end of that. We're about halfway. Great job, guys. A few more here. Nice core stabilization, think about. And last one. Great job. All right, if you'd like, go ahead and grab a mat. The mat will be a little bit more comfortable for you when we're doing this next ab exercise. Okay, so this next exercise, we have our mat, we have our med ball. I'm going ahead and just using the same one that I had for our rear lunge with the twist. So you can do these completely without a ball. The ball just adds an extra level of difficulty, which I think is a great challenge. So that's kind of how I wanted to propose it to you, but there's obviously always regressions and progressions that you can do in any fitness routine and with any exercise. So we're gonna start out in this open position here. Notice the ball is hovering above the ground. I'm not letting it touch the ground. With their rib cage, you'll want to flare up like mine's doing right now. You want to pull that down, so that means you're really engaging that rectus abdominis. For the sake of low back health, if anybody has any low back issues, go ahead and have your return position, how I have my feet right here on the floor in a bed. If that doesn't bother your low back, then you can go ahead and have your legs straight to begin with. So I'll start in this low back position to show you guys. I want us to lift up toward the leg, but toward the ceiling as well. So I'm reaching up here in between, reaching up, good, up, really controlling that motion so we're not swinging back and forth, we're doing nice, controlled, excellent. And I'll show you straight leg as well. But that can really tweak the low back. So feel free to just switch right into it to whatever is comfortable for you. And for me today, it apparently is having my knees bent. Could feel a little twinge wanting to happen. So we always err on the side of caution and exercise in a completely asymptomatic range of motion. So back to our standing rear lunges. So we'll just move the mat off to the side. We're going to alternate again between these two, and then we'll get into that cool down. Great, guys.